Little blew out the corner. Zonka shed a tackle, and Miami became the first team to cross the 50. To do this, they keyed Miami's superb pulling guard, Larry Little, number 66. Pardee first move on a sweep was to pick off Little and let the runner go free. Stripped of his escort, even big back Larry Zonka could be handled by tiny cornerback Pat Fisher and his quick feet. The no-names were brilliant, but which broad back ground soldiers to put the game away. Zonka and Little had failed with sweeps in the first half, so now they turned to their brutally basic inside game, pounding away from tackle to tackle for short, savage gains. Each Zonka blow softened Washington resistance. Then one play battered it into full retreat. Zonka's rambunctious 49-yard run seemed...
Kuchenberg on this play lets Wayne Moore go first, and then he pulls to the outside, and he blocks out on their defensive end. The play was very effective, and it was only because the cross block was the type of blocking that should be used against these hard-charging defensive linemen. They were back with the football against the flow, and this is a effective play because it starts out like it's going in one direction, and then it ends up going in the opposite direction, hence the term misdirection.
The Dolphins had drawn first blood with a drive that approached perfection. 2 yards in 10 plays for a 7-0 lead. In the crucial opening confrontation, Miami's offense...
And when the Minnesota linemen now started to wait to see what we were going to do, whether we were going to cross block or whether we were going to use negative influence and try to get the ball outside, then we were able to get on them in a hurry with our straight blocking. Move.
With a change of strategy, the Dolphin running attack now turned to simple, brute power. Larry Zonka and his escort, a perfect blend of back and line, man-on-man blocking and man-on-man ball carrying. At last, Minnesota ganged up to stop Zonka, inches short of the first down, leaving Garo Yepremian a chip shot. Somehow it all worked out just beautifully. Larry Zonka blasted in, and the broken play gave Miami an awesome 24-0 advantage. It was a weird, sure, they could not be stopped. For Carl Eller and the Minnesota Vikings, Super Bowl VIII was a strange nightmare. For the Miami Dolphins, it was a dream of near perfection, a performance unequaled in Super Bowl history. Larry Zonka had convinced the nation of his greatness with a Super Bowl record 145 yards rushing and was named Player of the Game. But there were others who shared at least equal. Sixth period with both teams exhausted. A counter play sprung Larry Zonka for his only good gain of the day. The season's second half began with Miami still unbeaten. In Buffalo, the ground game rolled over the Bills. The decisive factor was that Larry Zonka bulled his way for well over 100 yards for the fourth time this season. In a dazzling area in New England, Zonka's 45-yard burst earned him his second straight 1,000-yard season, as the Dolphins established a team yardage record, rolling up over 500 against the back offense.
My dad was starting up the Browns in '46, and he brought in Marion. I was 12 years old, and I'll tell you, when you have a hero when you're 12 years old, he's a hero that you have for the rest of your life. He's a hero for me for as long as I live. The great players of any era can play in any other era, and Marion was one of those. If he walked in today, he'd start for any team in the league. In his era, I think he was the best of the fullbacks. He was a big man.
The mammoth Motley, 238 pounds of football dynamite.
He was 40, 50 pounds bigger than some of the guys that were playing in his day.
Motley football's version of the atomic bomb.
He was like Earl Campbell in more recent times, that he was a collision runner. He'd hit people and they'd fall off and he'd keep going.
Big Marion Motley had a great day. He took a handoff from Otto and pulled and galloped his way for 58 yards. Old Mariucci is feared, and you got the idea why when he got moving on this one.
And in his prime, boom, he had a burst to him.
Boom, boom up the middle, taking off like a GI on a 3-day pass. He shows his tremendous drive.
Counting his 4 years in the old All-America Football Conference and 5 in the NFL, Marion Motley averaged 5.7 yards per carry, still the highest career average among running backs in pro football history.
He was a great runner, but he's more than a great runner. My dad used to say that Marion was the greatest all-around player ever. He was perhaps the best pass-protecting back ever. He could take these rushers and just stone them. He just stopped them. And he was a willing blocker on runs.
Touchdown number 1, off tackle, with Motley throwing the key block.
He had great hands. The Browns used to run a lot of wide flares and screens. He was a real threat at that. Beyond that, he was a guy who could go in and play as a linebacker, and the Browns used him as a linebacker in short yardage situations. He was considered the most talented of the Browns linebackers. He had the most physical ability.
Browns played for the championship of their league in all 8 of Motley's years with the team, winning 5 titles.
We had some great players with those old teams. He ranked up there with Otto Graham. They were the 2 really key guys at the beginning of the Browns.
It's the beginning of Motley's career that may be his most lasting legacy. In 1946, a full year before Jackie Robinson debuted with the Brooklyn Dodgers, Motley was one of 4 African-American players to break pro football's color barrier.
We took a lot of abuse. Anything that they gave out, we took it, but we dished it back to them. I'd get my licks in. I kicked butts and took names, I can tell you that. And it made them respect us, too. So I think I did what I had to do and did it right.
It's been a long time since he came into pro football, and memories fade. People probably don't have him in mind like they have later guys, but he was as good as any of them. I'm pretty selective. I don't have so many of them that I consider super, but I consider Marion Motley super.